Club, Calvi is getting an inside look into getting a book published with a best-selling author and her longtime agent. Rebecca Stead has written 9 books for young people, including the award-winning When You Reach Me. Her new book is called The Experiment. It's out now. Agent Faye Bender has been with her from the beginning. Thank you both for joining us. This is such a great thrill for us to have you both here. And 20 years together you two have been. You were just starting your literary agency. You were writing your debut book. I mean, how did this all come together?
It came together because, so with the first book, often you're working, with writer friends for quite a while before your book is ready for submission to an agent. And so I was in a critique group where one of the members was working with Faye, and she said when my book was deemed ready for submission, she said that she wanted to introduce me to Faye, and that was just an incredible stroke of luck.
How about that? I mean, what a thrill, really, to be able to meet you just as the beginning of a career is happening.
I know. It was so lucky for me as well. I knew immediately that Rebecca was an extraordinary talent.
That is beautiful. Tell me about that book, When You Reach Me. You called it lightning in a bottle.
It was one of those incredible publishing experiences. When You Reach Me is Rebecca's second novel, and it really broke out in an incredible way. It was her first New York Times bestseller, first of many now, and it won the John D. Newbery Award medal, which is one of the biggest awards in children's publishing. And I think that what happened with that book, which is what happens now with all of Rebecca's books, is that the kids and the adults who read them have this incredible urge when they turn the last page to go back to the first and start all over again.
You had said that really you don't know where your career would have been without a literary agent like Faye.
Yes.
Tell me about the experience of working together. We often, we read books, we talk to authors, but we don't necessarily get a chance to meet two people and the team.
I know, and actually I'm so thrilled that we're doing this because I never get to have a conversation that includes Faye. And in fact, she's a huge part of my working life. I've had a couple of different publishers, but Faye and I are the constant. And the truth is that I think that the relationship changes because writing changes. I mean, every book is its own challenge. And what I've learned after many years with Faye is that she's sort of there for all of them. I mean, whether it's sitting down together and talking through a revision letter, or with this book, there's a lot of action in this story. And so I said to her, can I just send you, every time something big happens, can I email it to you? And so I was annoyingly sending her tiny pieces of book for months and months. And she would just read it overnight and say, I'm so excited, keep going, which is, of course, what you need.
That is wonderful. I want to talk about this book because it's a story of an alien on Earth, but with a different twist. An 11-year-old looks human, but then he starts to grow a tail. Yes. So I love this about your books because it brings in another element of the story. And you're like, you said action. I was like, well, that's an understatement. So tell us about this. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this is maybe, I'm going to say, my most cinematic book in that, there's a lot of changes, a lot of turns. And Nathan is a 6th grader, and he has known his whole life that he is part of this very noble scientific alien experiment on Earth. He and his family are determined to do their very best. His one job is to look and act exactly like a human. And then that goes completely sideways because he starts growing a tail.
Yeah, what do you do then?
And it's horrible. I mean, in a way, it's just, what's the worst thing you could think of happening if you're in 6th grade, you start growing a tail? So things happen. They get called back to the mothership, and he makes some discoveries there that things are not all what he thought they were. And so the book just keeps going from there.
Faye, what did you think when you first read this one?
So Rebecca's books, I think in general, but this one in particular, are all about the big questions. She asks these really big questions. And in this one, a coming of age novel with aliens, she explores how we figure out who we are in the world and how we want to be in the world or galaxy. And what bigger question is there than
it's
that?
quite incredible. It's a big question, but then there's a sense of self, you know, trying to understand that too. Since I have the both of you here, can I ask you, there's so many writers who are dreaming of becoming an author. Can you just give them just a bit of advice, maybe from the both of you, just to get them started on that path that you've had this beautiful journey, and you as well?
Yeah, of course. I think the first is to read widely outside of any particular genre an aspiring writer might be writing within, to create a literary community. And that can be online, it can be in person. They are accessible now, it can happen now, and really, no matter how remote somebody is or how far away they live. And then also, I think, to spend time in local independent bookstores and libraries, see what's working and what people are asking for, talk to the booksellers, and then my last thing, and then you, is I think to remember, to always try to remember, and I think it's happened to all of us, and especially to people who want to write, those moments as readers when there's nothing you want to do but sit on the couch or in bed or, you know, with a flashlight, reading whatever it is that you're reading. So to remember, try to remember what that feels like and write to that feeling.
Wow, what good advice.
That is great advice. And I'm going to emphasize finding a literary community. My first writer community was a Yahoo group. Remember those? And through that online discussion group, I found critique partners. That's actually, it was one of those partners that led me to Faye. And I think that sometimes that means being brave. Some writers are a little bit introverted, and sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone and really stretch. You know, go to a conference and introduce yourself to people, not necessarily to connect with an editor or an agent. That's difficult to do at a conference, but with other writers, because my writing friends are a real anchor for me, and I think that that's true of every working writer I know. And so I do think that's the number one thing.
I really enjoyed talking to the both of you, and all the best with your book. Congratulations.
Thank
number
you.
9. We can't wait for number 10. We'll be waiting very patiently, but really excited to really dive into this one. So
Thank you so much.
Such a thrill to talk to you, and to you, Faye, as well. And you can read a free excerpt and get The Experiment at clubcalvi.com.